Hi there, thank you for joining me on FernCrafts. I'm Christine and I welcome you to my channel. Today we are going to be looking at this orchid that looks in terrible condition, and I'm kind of ashamed to even show this to you guys, but I thought it might be a learning experience for some, I guess it's good to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and here definitely is an ugly. This is the Rex crossed with the Eternal Wind Brassia, and its name is Orchis. I might have shown this to you in bloom. I can't remember if I did. But in any case, it was a lovely orchid, and it had 3 pseudobulbs, and as you can see, it has been totally infested now, and there is just maybe one that I can save, and that's what I'm going to do. But before I do anything, I'm going to put gloves on, and I have here 2 trays, one a clean one that I'm going to be using to work on it after I've cut away everything that is infected, and all of the media, the clay pot, and the plant, whatever I cut away from the orchid, all of it is going into the garbage bag, tied up and far away from all of the other orchids as soon as possible. So for those of you that do not know already, I've recently just had a total break from being able to look after my orchids for over a month and a half. And during this time, a lot of my orchids have suffered. A lot meaning I've lost about 6 or 7 of them, and I'm in the process of trying to save as many that are not looking so good. But the good news out of all of that is that this is the worst, and I had it isolated for about a week now, just to see if this is going to go anywhere, or if it's going to get worse. Then there was just no point, the whole thing is going in the garbage. But after a week, I can see that it's still growing strong, and so it tells me that there might be a chance to save it. And of course, for those that have watched my previous videos, you know that I'm all about trying to save them when we can. So here is an attempt, and hopefully it'll be a success video. We'll see how it goes. Okay, first things first, you want to take out the orchid out of the pot, and like I said, the clay pot was broken. Whoops, there, it tumbled out. Okay. This plastic, it can be washed in with a bleach solution and reused, so that's okay. And I'm using one hand here. Okay, so this is getting pretty messy, but basically what I'm going to do is pull out this orchid from the pot. If I can do that, let's see. There we go. And I don't even care about, whether it has a root solution or not, root system or not. It's just no good to me. And I'm being a little rough here because most of the roots are dead. And so now looking at the roots, I'm just feeling them to see if there are any viable roots, and maybe this, maybe that. But other than that, all of this is just dead. So really, now let's have a look at the orchid itself. The pseudobulb. Fortunately, it's the one with the good roots, and that's how it usually works, is that new roots come off of the new pseudobulb. So I can make a clean cut right, sorry, it goes a little big for me. Okay, I can make a clean cut right down here get rid of everything else, and I have to properly sterilize this orchid. Just because of the infection, what it is, I don't really want to put it back into media. So for a while, I just wanted to sit bare root, and I'll probably give it a soak of water, so something like semi-water culture, and just to give it humidity and not let it dry out, help the roots a little bit. So twice a week, I'll see how that goes, but for now I'm thinking twice a week, just to leave it bare root. With these 3 good roots, I can see 3. I'll show you more once I cut away everything else. And yeah, leave that just bare root and let some root development come, and let me see that this orchid is actually progressing, and then I will go on to put it into a medium. But for now, this is what it is. One thing to note, which I have not done here, and I have to be very careful before I dump the media, is to find my label. Okay, so let me do that, and I will get back to you. Okay, so I did find my label, which is good. I have to wash it down, so what I'm going to do is wipe it with a very light bleach solution, and then it's ready to go again. I have to be careful not to lose the writing on there. And then while I was just, taking the orchid and looking at it, it actually it was already torn, so it came apart into 2 sections, which works out beautiful because that's what I wanted. Is this good part, some of it is still not so good, so I'll have to look for the wiry, dried up roots like this one right here. And the way you know that is when you feel it, it doesn't feel firm. It'll feel hollow or mushy, and then you know those roots are done. So you can just cut those away. You want to take away as much of the dead roots as well as any debris that you have, medium, as much as you can without damaging too much of the roots. And with Oncidiums, I have to say from experience that even if you did damage a few of the roots, that's fine. They're pretty resilient. They will come back, and they grow new roots off of old roots as well, like new side roots off of the old roots. And I'm just taking off some of the smaller medium while I'm talking to you. But this is, it came apart just by itself, so you can see it's done for. So that goes in the garbage right there. And now I'm not going to use this tray anymore, so I'm just going to cut off as much of the media and take off any media and then cut off some of the dead roots. I'll give it a good wash. I like to do that with all of my orchids. Unfortunately, that's all that's left is one pseudobulb. It's not even developed into a proper pseudobulb, but it's a very nice, healthy orchid. There is some markings on these leaves here, but I will just keep an eye out for it. And the one good way of inspecting it is just to open up the folds as much as you can without damaging the orchid, and to look to see if there are any shiny, slimy things. After I wash it, I will give it a nice spray in hydrogen peroxide all through and just let it air dry. But I will do that after I cut the roots first, so that it's just going to make it a little easier and less messy. So I'll be right back. Okay folks, so this is what she looks like after all has been cut away, and I've given her a thorough wash and sprayed her down with hydrogen peroxide. Like I said, those markings are there. I'm gonna just ignore them for now. Like I have scrubbed down as much as I can, so whatever it is, it's probably damage already done. And I do want to note that there was a growth right there. There's a covering, skin that I peeled back, and there is that growth, which is a good sign. I did take away that skin just because it's dead and I didn't want it to promote any, rotting or anything. I've given a thorough wash to the roots as well, and cut away as much as I can the dead material. This is where the rest of the orchid pseudobulbs were attached, and it's broken off. So I do want to do something just with that. It is a little wet right now, but I'm going to put some cinnamon powder on it just so that it will not rot and then the rot work its way back into the orchid. So let me do that right now. And the other thing that I have done is given the label a good wash as well. But before I do that, let me just tell you, I'm just using a bottle. This is one of the bottles, I think coffee came in it or something. It's a nice shape. And so I always keep bottles because we do a lot of pickling and things like that over the summer. So they're sterilized and ready to go, and it works out. So you could use whatever you have around the house. And what I've done is just filled it up with a little bit of water, and I'm going to show you what I do next. But let me get some cinnamon on this first. Okay, so as far as the cinnamon powder that you use, it doesn't matter, any brand is fine. As long as you know that it is cinnamon, because it acts as an antifungal, antiseptic as well. But you have to be very careful not to get it onto the active roots or the new roots, because it can burn the root tips. So just dip your finger in water and just dip it into the cinnamon and then rub it very slowly onto the wound. I don't want to dust the whole thing just because I don't want the root tips to get any of the cinnamon on it. So I have to be careful. And it's just to give it a good, it'll almost help it heal off, but also kind of burn the tip so that it closes off, and there'll be a nice clean, see, got some on their root there. Okay. All right, so that's done. I'll get rid of the cinnamon, okay? And now, here's what I'm going to do with the orchid. I'm going to be very careful. That portion that I put the cinnamon on, I'm not going to get it into the water. So just place your orchid very gently, being careful with the roots. And I did a trial with this just to see how it's going to stand up. And so I kind of have an idea. There. Okay, so the way I have it now, as you can see, is that the longest root is in the water, but the rest of the orchid is out of the water. So it'll still get humidity. It's not touching the water, so there's very low chance of it rotting, especially at the base. And we can, because it's in a glass container, we can easily monitor its growth. So that's what I'm going to do today. Is I have one more orchid like this, so I'm going to do that. Do the same method with that as well. And last but not least, don't forget to put your label in there so you know what the orchid is. And I will watch the water, and usually it's about every 2 to 3 days you change the water, but I'm going to watch the water and see when it starts to go cloudy or muddy, or a little bit of green in there, then I'll change the water so as to make as little change for the orchid as possible while it's trying to recuperate. Before signing off, I just want to show you the other orchid that I am doing the similar method with, and it's a Cattleya. I don't have a label for it, but I think I might know what it is. So this Cattleya, it was also covered in scale, and I've had to scrub it down and really use like kitchen scrubber. So I've used that to just scrub it all off on the pseudobulbs. I've cut away one of the pseudobulbs that I didn't think it was just, you know, worth even trying to save it because it was kind of dead on the top, but it was covered in scale. So I've cut that back, and I cut it on an angle so that if any water falls, it'll slide right off. There is this other pseudobulb, and I'm going to leave that on for now. It doesn't have a leaf, like this one as well. And then this is an older leaf. Actually, this one I'll just tell you in a bit. This is an older leaf, and I've left this on to kind of help with the energy from the pseudobulbs for this new growth. So it's all about this growth right here. Going back to this pseudobulb here, it had a nice healthy leaf. Well, sort of healthy, but I had to cut away that leaf because it had a hole. I can't get it to focus. Okay, there. You can see it's totally ugly. So anyway, that's going in the garbage dump also. But here's something I wanted to show you. I have to be a little more drastic with this orchid, even though it has so many live roots, is because the roots themselves are infected. Can you see that? It is pretty ugly, and you know what, I don't want to go through each one of those roots to figure out which one has and which one doesn't. So all those roots are coming off. It's going to be down to no roots. I will probably leave that one there because I can see, to my naked eye right now, I can see that it is safe. But if there are any more problems, if I see anything around it, even that one's going. I'm just cutting back all of these roots and having to do the same method. I will probably just leave it sitting on a bed of pebbles, not even put it into water. Just leave it there because I know Cattleyas are pretty resilient and they do grow from nothing. And for those who haven't watched those videos of mine about Cattleya with no roots and the success I've had, I'll link that below. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for watching, and for those who haven't done so already, join us on our Facebook group. It's FernCrafts Love for Kids, and if you haven't done so here, subscribe. You'll be the first to know when I upload a video. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, enjoy your orchids. Bye-bye.